Andras Mandala. So, here we are, carrying on with this amazing epic story of Rishikesh. And we've actually got to Thailand, and Rishikesh has got married. He has a Thai wife, and he's settled in Bangkok. Um, and he's actually designed a software website for the person who's going to become the Prime Minister of Thailand. And he's going to tell us this amazing story about how he created what he's going to explain again what the Navaratna jewels is, the significance, and how he made this presentation to the Queen and became a kind of close, you could say, in a sense, with the royal family. And he's going to tell us that story.
It's a long story.
Please.
'Cause I've been friends with them
Yeah.
for 30 years, and
Okay.
I've gotten my son went to school in the palace, which is unthinkable even for Thai people. For 12 years he was in the school in the palace, which is inside the palace with a moat around it and guys with machine guns and 7 foot long kind of alligators walking around and peacocks. It's just the craziest place. It's beautiful, absolutely like paradise in there. So he went to school in there, and I got citizenship from the Queen. And so anyway, I made this necklace for the Queen, and General Prem, who had been the Prime Minister for 8 years, was now the Privy Council President, Royal Privy Council President, the advisor to the King, the number one advisor. I went to him and through a movie star. And it was because I already had my business going, Astral Gemstone Talismans, and so in 1973 I made this necklace and for the Queen. And I went to see the former Prime Minister to ask him if he would give it to her. He was saying, "Well, do you want to meet her?" Which means, "Do you want to get a picture with the Queen?" Which is exactly the wrong thing to say, because that's what everybody wants, and that's all they ever get, Because you're putting the Queen in inconvenience. She has to get dressed and go wait for you and meet you and smile, and it's like they hate that because they know that's just for you. It's not for them, So I said, "No, I'm not. I don't want to meet the Queen. I just want to make sure she receives this, and I trust you over everybody because he was Prime Minister for 8 years when I first got there, and I really admire him." And so he gave it to the Queen, and she received it and was pleased with it, and subsequently. I went to India and got the complete Bhagavatam by Prabhupada, which had been completed because of Hridayananda or whatever his name is, that had done the rest of it. And so I had the whole thing, 18 volumes. So I got them all and I brought them back here, and I had a throne made, a wooden throne made with a golden plate and gems, and said Srimad Bhagavat Mahapuran, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And it was, and it was all in the beautiful display, and it was arranged for me to meet the King's secretary, who's passed away now, and present this to the King. To get it I wanted to get Prabhupada's books in the Royal Library here. And subsequently, I made a Garuda ring for the King, and he said he would rather have a Navaratna pen. And I made Navaratna rings for the princess, and this princess, and that princess, and all of these people. And every one of my books from 1995 and onward was presented in a burlwood box to each member of the royal family. And I was being invited to General Prem's house, where no foreigners ever go. I was being invited to go there all the time and hang out with him, And my father and mother met him and everything. It was amazing because he was the most important man after the King in the whole country. The greatest statesman in the history of this country. And then subsequently I made a website for him. I made a which is still existing, called generalprem.com. Has all his life. He passed away after the King did. So subsequently I made a crystal ball, a 3,000 carat flawless crystal ball in a special stand, with a beautiful gold nameplate that was offering respects and love to the King, and presented that to the King on his 80th birthday, and so many things. I did so many things for the King, but they did, more than for me, because they gave me all facility to live here and be a Thai, because I hate America. I absolutely can't stand that place. I mean, if that place gets blown to hell, except for my family, I wouldn't mind it. because they've been my enemy forever. They're everybody's enemy, pretending to be everybody's friend.
But specifically, I mean, we have it's come across in the video that you don't like America because of what you went through and what they did to you and the world, but specifically
What they're still putting the world through right now, right? Even now they're just relentless bastards, And they're blaming they blame everybody else. They say, they punch you in the face and say, "Why did you punch me in the face?" What? I didn't even know you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you're when did you actually officially become a Thai citizen then?
15 years ago. 15 years ago, about it. During the last king.
Okay.
Which is also pretty hard to get. Most foreigners think it's absolutely impossible. They say, "How did you ever become a citizen of Thailand? It's impossible." I said, "Well, you just fill out the form and submit it. I mean, that's how hard it is."
Okay. But it's a little bit, I mean, unless it's not what you know, it's who you know and who you are as well, that makes
It's always like that. Throughout the history of the world, even in spiritual life.
So, yes, when we were just talking earlier, I'd like you to talk more about it because even just talking to my friends here, and I was describing some of the things that you were describing. There's my friends are very interested. I'm extremely interested.
You got my book, right? You got the PDF book.
Yeah, I got this.
And you saw the PGA website that I created.
I haven't had enough time today, but I will. Okay. I will. And at the end, and also with when we make the video public, there will be links to your websites and all sorts of different things, so people can access everything. I think you'll have a lot of interest from people. Okay. I have to say, I mean, we've had a lot of previous talks privately, and you revealed some things yesterday that were really new to me and very exciting about your story. And I suppose I didn't really realize how much of, your kind of where you are in this planetary gemology story, that you are the foremost world authority on it. Really, you've become that, and also an expert on gems and how you describe that. At that period where all these financiers and stuff were, because you were such an expert, you actually know what has value in that world. Okay, that's your expert, and not just from how beautiful they are, but from also all these astrological connections, which is not everybody in the world uses gems for those reasons. Mostly people in Asia, I think, use those, even though traditionally in different cultures they have been used. But most Westerners don't go off and think, "I'm going to buy a gem for astrology." It's more of an Eastern thing.
And most of the people that do buy gems for astrology, they buy junk. Because it's all about cheap. Okay, here's cheap. Here's a piece of junk. Oh my God, I got a junk piece of stone. And junk is the opposite effect of good stones. Dirty water is unhealthy. Clean water is healthy. How are you going to compare those,
Would you recommend, say if one is just not economically in the game to buy a really good gem, would you say it's better to just have, say, a kind of kabacha with a mantra or another form of a planetary enhancement, or just not even bother at all?
No, there's a number of means to perform prayaschita or to counteract the bad effects of certain planets, which involves gemstones, mantras, fasting, and various types of things. And so charity, various types of things. So gems are the easiest, but they're also the most costly. And but I mean, when you're buying a gem for astrology, you're not paying for the astrology. You're buying the gem as a gem. That it has an astrological potency or not, it's not something you can charge for or even pay for, because you can't verify it. Yeah. You can verify the gem is real, but you can't verify that it has a power. So you can't. The power is just knowledge, information. You can't charge for anything more than the gem and the jewelry as a gem and jewelry. But the reason people buy it from you instead of somebody else is because you're offering it in an astrological way, in an astrological format. So, you can't charge for that because that's just information. That's not verifiably provable.
So,
People say to me, if I buy this gem from you, will I get $1 million? And I say, well, if you do I get half of it? No. Well, I can't guarantee that. I can guarantee the gem is real. I can guarantee its astrological quality, but I can't guarantee that you're going to win the lottery.
how many members join? You know that association that you founded. You said there was a certain how many people who are kind of
Over
like
300. Over
gemologists?
300.
Okay, so around the world in different countries, there's members who, they're part of this team, and there's certain standards and protocols which are what's the affiliation? What's it called? They have to be. What's the acronym for them being?
PGA, the Planetary Gemologist Association, which has a Sanskrit name, which is Graha Anukul Ratnavisheshagya Parishad. The association of the variegated knowledge of gemstones, which are recommended for Graha Anukul, favorable planets.
Okay.
So I did all these things with the king, and plus I was really good friends with Satyavrat Shastri, who was sent over by India to Thailand to be the tutor for the princess Mahachakri, because she was doing her master's degree in Sanskrit. So they sent their best guy from India to here, and he lived here for 20 years with his wife, who was also a PhD in Sanskrit, and they could speak Sanskrit extempore together. And I was their super close friend for years and years. And and so many occasions I met the princess and also the king with him, because he was always being awarded this and awarded that. And he had translated the Thai Ramayana story, the Ramakien. He had translated it into Sanskrit.
Oh, okay.
So this is the kind of scholar, and he got so many. He's got people doing PhD theses on people who did PhD theses on his PhD thesis.
Okay. And what was his actual PhD thesis on?
I don't know. I don't even know, because he had about 20 PhDs. He had universities begging him to come get this PhD, and he used to tell me, I got to go to this state and get that PhD. I said, they're just giving you this PhD to get your name on their university,
Yeah, exactly.
And you should just tell them, I don't want to go. They could send it to you. They just wanted a picture of themselves giving him that's how famous he was, Satyavrat Shastri.
What?
And his last position, before he passed away, he was the chairman of the Sanskrit Commission, Government of India. Imagine bigger than that. It's chairman of the Sanskrit Commission, Government of India. That was his last position.
Amazing.
And his wife was also a PhD in Sanskrit. And he was the godfather of Jiva, my son.
Wow, very cool.
When Jiva was born, I already knew him, and when Jiva was born, he wanted to be the godfather, and was teaching Jiva how to speak Sanskrit and blessing him and always asking about him and always playing with him. And so, and I was also really good friends with Pandit Vidyadhar Shukla, who was the chief Brahmin priest of Thailand. And he was born in the Vishnu.
I'm interested.
He was born in the Vishnu Mandir. Here in Thailand, there's a bunch of Vishnu, but there's one old one, the original one. And the head pujari at that place 100 years ago was his father, and he was born he wasn't born in the hospital, he was born in the Vishnu temple, in Bangkok. And then his father sent him to Varanasi to be a brahmachari, and he was a brahmachari for many years and studied in Varanasi, and he studied Sanskrit and Hindi and astrology and feng shui, or all the different kinds of practices that are Vastu Shastra, all these things. And then he came back and he did like a 2-year brat, of not speaking or not eating or something, that became a national thing. And when he broke that fast, he was invited to the palace, and because he dedicated all the boon, the punya from that activity to the king of Thailand. So the king received him and gave him an honor, and then he was like the head priest of the Thai Hindu community here for 60 years, And he and I used to do.
When you say when you say sorry, the Thai, because most people will not be aware of this, that in Thailand there is this background Brahminical culture, and because it's kind of seen as a Buddhist country, maybe you that because it's new for me as well, and so maybe so this what was his name again? Sorry, I'm with the name that this
Pandit
gentleman.
Vidyadhar Shukla.
So but was he a native
He was
Thai
born in
or
Thailand,
mixed
but
with
his
him?
father was Indian. I mean, there's a lot of Indian Thais who speak Hindi
Okay.
and are Indian origin, and they either were born here or they came here with their parents or their parents or grandparents. There's about 250,000 Indians here who are Thai citizens, and he's one of them. Was one of them.
But what about indigenous Thai Brahmins?
No,
Are there indigenous
there's the
Thai?
royal Brahmins. There's the royal Thai Brahmins, which do the plowing ceremony and do all the. There's a whole bunch of Hindu rituals that are done because in Thailand the ultimate philosophy that the monks talk about is the Buddhist philosophy, which is the impersonal philosophy. That's not something that they live for living and for philosophy, for theology and explaining creation and everything. It's all Hindu. They have the Vishnu, they have Brahma, they have there's more Brahmas in Bangkok alone than there is in the whole rest of the world put together. Chaturmukh Brahma, who's our guru, and there's all kinds of deities of Ganesh and all kinds, and there's Hindu temples and Vishnu mandirs and Krishna temples and all kinds of temples here, and except for the ultimate philosophy of the Buddhists, which is Nirvana, they're all just Hindus. They practice Hinduism.
So the
The
people,
king, the
those
king
different
himself
temples,
represents Vishnu. His symbol is Garuda. You know,
in those Hindu temples in Thailand, are the priests indigenous Thai Brahmin pujaris or priests, or are they Indians from India?
well, they're
The
they're
ones from
Indians
the
who are
Brahmin temple.
Indians who are indigenous Thai, born in Thailand for the most part. Yeah.
Okay, okay, okay. That's it. That's
But
really
I became really good
interesting.
friends with Pandit Vidyadhar Shukla, and he also helped me start the PGA, and he was the president. He's still the president, even he passed away last year. He's still the president. And
Okay.
he helped me figure out the Anukul system of gem choosing as opposed to this system of Pratikul, which is choosing gems for bad.
Can you explain
Well,
that?
you see, in the old,
Okay, yeah.
because of the British came and messed up the Indian mentality by making them feel ashamed of their religion. All these Indians are running around trying to act scientific, which just looks ridiculous when you're talking about astrology. See how do the moon pulls the whole ocean, by so one side, so it can certainly affect your mind. But okay, that's okay. But I mean, they were trying to explain the powers of gems, and the powers of gems are related to the deity, like the power of a Shalagram Shila is related to Vishnu. There is no power of a Shalagram Shila apart from Vishnu. And together with Vishnu, what other power is there?
So what were the two terms you said? Anukul. There was the
Anukul
two
and,
different.
and Pratikul. Anukul means favorable, and Pratikul means unfavorable. So if a
Okay.
person goes to even me, I would go to an astrologer in the old days like Nalini and say, "What's the best thing for me?" And they would look at my chart to see the worst thing. They wouldn't look for the best thing. They would look for the worst. Oh, that planet is your worst planet. Wear that stuff. What you're saying is if I wear that, and then I would wear it, and my life would get worse. And then I finally asked Pandit Vidyadhar Shukla when I moved over here, and he said, "This is crazy. You don't wear the stone for your bad planet. That's bad. You wear the stone for your good planet." You know. And I saw that
Okay. So
everybody
it
in
was
India was
he.
doing this nonsense system. Everybody was recommending stones for bad planets, which obviously indicates that they think if you wear the stone for a bad planet, which is only bad because it's in your horoscope in a bad position, that bad position,
Yeah.
that bad influence is going to be reversed by you wearing that planet, that dead gem. Reversed. And the proper way to think of it is it's going to be whatever that planet is good for you, you're going to wear this. If you've got 9 horses and you're going to race one of them, you're going to find your best one, the one that's the strongest, the most cooperative. You're not going to look for the most difficult horse, thinking that that's going to be your winner. So all this kind of, and then so many people were fixed up on that idea that gems for bad planets are the way to go. Even their astrological magazine. I had a big, long discussion with the astrological magazine with Gayatri Devi Vasudev and her father, and I converted them. But this is ridiculous. I
Okay.
converted them, and then that
Okay.
became a
So
became a
B.B.
rule in
Rama.
the PGA. if you recommend stones for bad
Okay.
planets under the illusion that that's going to reverse that bad into good, then you're an idiot, and you shouldn't be allowed to practice planetary gemology, or the public should be warned about you. So we actually have an off list in the PGA website. You can go to see who are the jerks,
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, that's so the so while you're developing this business and it's taking off, and how many in Bangkok or Thailand, how many different stores did you eventually have in selling your
Well,
jewelry?
at the high point, back in the late 90s and early 2000s, I had the biggest jewelry store in Thailand, which was at the Sunlum Night Bazaar, 300 square meters with a museum and a restaurant and a jewelry store and offices and everything. Big, beautiful building. I can send you a picture. And plus I had 6 other locations in various department stores, full booth locations with 100 pieces each. And I had all my showcases divided into planets. So there was the sun. We had a card that read what the sun was, what the gems were, what the powers were, and then all the sun related pieces would be there. And the next area was moon, next area was Mars. So I had all my showcases separated into different planets. And I had explanations all over the place. I mean, people could go into a regular jewelry store and they're not going to know anything. They're going to be able to get a little card that says Lucky Birthstone, January, February, March. And you ask them any question, they don't even have the faintest idea where that card even came from, even though they're the ones giving it out. But I can go on for hours without even repeating myself about why gems have power.
I think maybe bring your microphone a little closer
Okay.
toward you. Just
Yep.
move it. Yeah, that's it. That's a bit better. Thanks. Good. Wow.
So I was writing articles and getting on television and being interviewed. I mean, thousands. And there was about when I got to the point when there was about 500, I was keeping track of it. When there was about 500, then I stopped. And then so well over 1,000, about 40 times on various TV channels, interviews, VIP channel, this channel, everything was going really good, as it does. When things go good, they go really good, and nothing lasts forever. So eventually there was all this political trouble here with the red shirts and the yellow shirts, which are basically the progressives in Thailand who were egged on by America to try and overthrow their own king, because you can't take over Thailand as long as there's going to be unity among the people. And so this is the only country that wasn't colonized during the colonizations of Asia. Only Thailand was not colonized. Only Thailand outsmarted all these foreigners. And so that's...
And Nepal.
Yeah. No, well, Nepal, nobody
Nepal.
even tried to take over Nepal. Who wants Nepal?
Yeah.
I mean, really, who wants it? So nobody even cared about it. And so anyway, I started contacting people before there was even the internet, and started writing to people that had written books about it, and big astrologers. And you can when you go to the PGA website, you can look at who are the members, and also who are the founder members, who are the VIP patrons, all the biggest names in astrology.
So when this yellow and red shirt kind of like political what years were we talking about?
It started about
destruction
2006, and it went until 2012. And there was the yellow shirts, who are nonviolent and who represent the king and who represent the unity of Thailand, and who are loyalists and nationalists, and who want to let Thailand remain Thailand.
Maturas Nandana.